Hello and welcome back to another episode of Review to Review, the show where we go back and watch movies to see if we still like them. As always, my name's Adam, this is Josh. Say hi, Josh.
Hello, beautifuls.
And this week we're going to be talking about the 2017 film Justice League, or as it will be forever known as Josstice League.
Justice League.
Now we have to address the edgelord elephant in the room. Zack Snyder's Justice League is actually being made, and quite frankly, I'm excited to see it come out.
But haven't you been complaining about Zack Snyder this entire time?
I don't know what you're talking about. Big thing about Zack Snyder is kind of a common criticism about the man. Another complaint I have about Zack Snyder: Superman doesn't kill people. You don't make Superman kill people.
Batman vs. Superman is directed by Zack Snyder, and once again, he's probably my biggest complaint about the movie. I'm not crazy about kill happy Batman, but for some reason that's something that gets Zack Snyder off, so we got superheroes that kill people.
Zack Snyder.
Zack Snyder.
Fuck off, mate.
Fuck off.
Yeah. So about that. So unfortunately, Zack Snyder had to step away from Justice League in 2016 due to a family tragedy, where he was then replaced by Joss Whedon, who was just supposed to make minimal changes to the project. However, rumor has it that he was forced off of the project, and they actually brought Joss Whedon in to reshape the entire movie, and they used the excuse of his family tragedy in order to save face, and that just feels incredibly sleazy, especially when they just slapped his name on it when it was no longer technically his vision. So even though I may not agree with what someone has to say, I still believe they have the right to say it, and I think it's only right that Zack Snyder gets to make his movie. Now, I still think this is going to be a Justice League in hindsight. We are never going to see the original version that was supposed to come out in 2016, and ultimately I think that's only a good thing. If you know you're going to make a mistake, why continue to make it? I feel like there's a possibility that Zack Snyder's vision has grown and evolved over time, and hopefully we see that in this film. But with all that being said, I do think the trailer looks really cool and I'm excited to see it. I am curious to see how this divides the fan base though. Either it's going to be amazing and people are going to pretend the 2017 film didn't happen, or it's going to suck and everybody's going to pretend they liked the older version better. Now that we got that all out of the way, how did I feel about the movie the first time I saw it? I remember I actually loved it a lot. Let's be honest though, the story is a complete mess, but by the time it was over I had felt more hopeful than I had with any other DCEU movie to this point. Well, except Wonder Woman. So the movie starts off with Henry Cavill's invisible mustache, which isn't just weird, it also shows you how much the movie was changed. So when Joss Whedon was filming his reshoots for Justice League, Henry Cavill was also working on a Mission Impossible movie, where he grew a porn star mustache that was so well received he was forbidden from shaving it. Now the main reason I point this out is because almost every scene with Henry Cavill, it has this weird CGI on his face to hide the fact that Superman was contractually obligated from shaving. Anyway, Superman of course dies at the end of Batman vs. Superman, and maybe the best thing about Superman being dead is you don't see much of him, so you don't see much of the CGI. But then one of my biggest complaints about the movie is you don't see much of Superman. It's Justice League. Every iteration of Justice League has the core team of Batman, Superman, and Wonder Woman. In fact, this is the only Justice League story I can think of where Superman is not a core founding member. Yeah, I get that the movie is supposed to be about getting Superman back, but I just don't understand why everybody is so upset about his departure. Remember, in Batman vs. Superman and Man of Steel, nobody trusted him. He had his fans here and there, but for the most part, humanity didn't trust him at all. They were okay with him getting nuked. They were okay with Batman almost shanking him in the face. It's only when he sacrificed himself to Doomsday that people seem to legitimately give a shit about him. So you now have a guilt-ridden Batman who is trying to prevent an alien threat that he found out about by annoying a parademon to death with a car alarm. This part's kind of neat because Gotham City looks amazing. It looks exactly like it does in the comics. It's just oozing that Batman neo-noir vibe that we used to get from the Tim Burton movies and the TV show, so it's really cool to see it in person again. It is a little weird though, because when the parademon dies, it explodes a Jackson Pollock plot device onto the wall to let Batman know it's looking for 3 squares. Batman is again played wonderfully by Ben Affleck. He had some really cool dialogue, but at the same time, I felt he was a little too nice. Like, Batman is always more interesting to me when he's kind of an asshole. You can kind of see that in the beginning of the movie where he talks to Aquaman, he hits him with the line,
"I hear you can talk to fish."
That's still hilarious to me. I love asshole Batman, it just feels right. But then later on with the scenes with the Flash, he kind of feels like that guy who just found out he's gonna be a dad, so he's trying not to be an asshole to everyone he meets.
Can I keep this?
But other than that, Ben Affleck does bring this grittiness to Batman that reminds me of the animated series. Hell, it reminds me of Bruce Wayne from Batman Beyond as well. But yeah, he's a great Batman, just a little too soft sometimes. Meanwhile, on the island of Themyscira, the Amazons are having to fight the worst enemy they've ever faced, Steppenwolf. If you don't know who that is, don't feel too bad about it. I didn't really either. Turns out he's just one of Darkseid's lackeys and not one of the more popular ones at that. Anyway, the Amazons are trying to protect this mother box, which is one of the 3 squares Batman saw earlier. Steppenwolf attacks them, overpowers them, takes the box, and then they set the temple of the Amazons on fire to let Wonder Woman know the world is ending. Now we have Gal Gadot returning as Wonder Woman, and she still does a great job. You can still tell that she's dealing with the repercussions of everything that's happened during World War I, and how that's made her more reluctant to interfere in the affairs of the world. One thing that really bothered me though is how they treated her as the punchline because she was the girl of the group. Seriously, Aquaman hits on her, it's implied Batman has a crush on her with Alfred egging him on the whole time. Flash falls on top of her because he's a klutz, and where does his face land? Planted firmly between her breasts.
I work with children.
It's just unnecessary, and it's cheap, and it cheapens everything that Patty Jenkins did when filming Wonder Woman. Ultimately, I do try to ignore it because they establish she is clearly the strongest member of the group. And they don't just show how powerful she is, they also show how thoughtful she is, showing clearly that she is an essential member of the team. So now Batman and Wonder Woman decide to team up, and from here you know a few things. 1. You have to bring Superman back. 2. Flash, Cyborg, and Aquaman all have to be properly introduced. And 3. They all have to come together and unite as the Justice League. Let's jump right into the Superman resurrection. It's fucking weird. Yes, Superman has come back in other media before, but the way they have chosen to do so in this movie is so morbid I never got over the ethical dilemma of whether or not they should do it. Batman figures that since the Mother Box is alien plot device technology, it is probably strong enough to reboot Superman. And where does Batman decide the best place to do this is? The protoplasmic hot tub that turns out to Doomsday, apparently. Now in the comics and in the animated film, Superman doesn't truly die. Instead, his body goes into an ultra hibernative state where his heart only beats once every couple of days, and when someone figures this out, they retrieve him, take him to the Fortress of Solitude where he slowly recovers. But here, he's straight up dead, and it all just seems so perverse, from the Flash cracking jokes as he and Cyborg dig up his coffin, to putting his corpse in the goo bath that transformed another dead Kryptonian into the monster that killed him. All with the hope that throwing another unknown variable into the mix would give you a better outcome. Hell, even if you just launched his coffin into the sun, it would have been more respectful than the Solomon Grundy type experiment. But what's more disrespectful than that is that it works, and I'm supposed to believe that shit. But hey, it does, and now all I can think about is zombie Superman. What makes it worse is that everything we had seen up until this point showed that they were going to go with a more comic faithful version. At the end of Batman vs Superman, you can even see the dirt raising off of Superman's coffin, which gives into the heartbeat theory. And during production, Zack Snyder did release a picture of Henry Cavill in the black Superman suit from the comics. But no, they decided to do their science voodoo, and of course he comes back pissed off. Which, side rant real quick, I am so tired of evil Superman. Even in the DCEU, you've seen Superman snapping necks, dusting people with his laser vision. There's even a video game coming out called Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League where, you guessed it, Superman's evil again. And yeah, they're making it clear that Superman's getting mind-fucked by Brainiac, but still, I'm tired of it. Okay, side rant over, we'll see if I can stop complaining for 30 seconds. Not likely. And all my complaining aside, I still love Henry Cavill in the role, and even though I did not like the idea of Eric Draven's Superman, the ensuing fight is pretty badass. Everybody is struggling to take down Superman, but they can't because he's fucking Superman. And not just Superman, but Superman without his daily dose of moral fiber. Nothing is holding him back, nothing can hold him back, except Lois Lane, which was kinda dumb. Amy Adams isn't given anything to do other than be sad and help Superman remember himself, so they wasted her again. Now for the new guys who have the Flash, played by Ezra Miller, Aquaman, played by Jason Momoa, and Cyborg, played by Ray Fisher. And each character is only given a single scene to establish who they are before getting roped into the team. Now, The Flash gets an easy in because the movie came out around the same time that the popular CW series The Flash was running. So at this point, most people are familiar with his backstory to the same point that they are with Superman, Batman, or Wonder Woman. Ezra Miller's portrayal of the character is pretty interesting because it's very different from Grant Gustein's version on the TV show. His version is very quirky and awkward, and he seems to channel this super speed into a sort of ADHD, which actually makes a lot of sense for the character. However, Cyborg and Aquaman are relatively obscure characters in terms of pop culture, or at least they were until Aquaman and Doom Patrol came out. By the way, if you haven't been watching Doom Patrol, I highly recommend it. But both of these characters' introductions are crammed into the same movie, so you don't really get to know what makes each character special. Cyborg gets the worst of it though, because even though he's integral to the plot, he really only feels like a plot device. And it's a massive bummer because you never get to explore the Frankenstein/creation relationship between him and his father. Aquaman, of course, got his own solo movie, so it makes up for his lack of backstory here, but I also didn't understand why he was here. Yes, the Atlanteans were one of the 3 tribes that were given a mother box to protect, but he is not really tied to the Atlanteans at this point. He hasn't been to Atlantis at this point, so why is that his responsibility? Also, they never fight by water. You don't get to see him summon giant sharks or lobsters or kraken. You just get a medieval Rob Zombie jumping out of the sky with a pitchfork, which is still a lot of fun, so I'm not really complaining. It's just odd. I'm mad. So everyone's finally together except Superman, who flew off with Lois for some alone time. They track down Steppenwolf to a town that is not Chernobyl, but it's totally Chernobyl, that seems to be inhabited by a single family of 4. So we must send all 6 members of the Justice League. And once again, it's the same orange fiery landscape that we've seen in every DCEU movie up until this point. So eventually all the cannon fodder is taken out. They go against Steppenwolf, struggle a little bit, and finally Superman arrives. And I still remember smiling like a dork in the theater the second I heard,
I believe in truth. But I'm also a big fan of justice.
it's just so goddamn cheesy. But you know what? I sometimes order cheese pizza with extra cheese and then I'll put Parmesan on top. I don't mind cheese as long as it makes me happy. And I was very happy here. He just slaps Steppenwolf around for a second before stopping to have a conversation with Batman. And they have Superman concerned about civilians for the first time ever, so he flies off to help Flash. And remember how I said the city only had a population of 4? He leaves Flash to go and push this truck along a road while he goes and carries an apartment building. At no point are we giving any indication that somebody is in that building, so for all we know, he's just flexing on this poor kid. So everyone finally teams up, beats the shit out of the gray guy. Superman uses his ice breath for the first time, which was really cool to see. And then Steppenwolf gets scared, boom tubes out of there, and the Justice League was born. So how do I feel about this movie after reviewing it? I somehow like it and hate it more than I did before. One thing that I liked is something that I've noticed DC has been doing lately. They have embraced the crazy zaniness of comic books. You see more examples of this in Aquaman, Shazam, and then of course Doom Patrol. Again, watch it. But it's nice to see DC sort of step away from this overly grounded, overly serious version of the comic book stories and just really embrace what it is that makes comic books special. Like when Diana talks about the battle that happened thousands of years ago with the tribes of man, the Atlanteans, and the Amazonians all teaming up against Steppenwolf for the first time. You see these characters like Zeus and an ancient Green Lantern fighting alongside these characters, and it's awesome. It's one of the coolest scenes in the movie. And I gotta say, the movie gives me a simple kind of pleasure, like a 90s superhero action flick. It's cheesy, it's over the top, but when it's on TV, it's really hard to change the channel. But some of the things that bother me really bother me, like the amount of disrespect shown to Wonder Woman, and knowing how much Zack Snyder's vision was compromised by outside forces and the way that it was done. But ultimately, I still enjoyed and recommend Justice League. It has some fun action scenes as well as some awesome set pieces. The cast does a great job of bringing our childhood heroes to life, and if you're looking for a good time while not having to think too hard, this will get the job done. But those have been my thoughts. I am more curious about your thoughts. If you agree with me, great, and if not, let's fight about it. I hope you guys enjoyed the show, but before we go, I did want to take a quick moment to say that I know collectively we are all having a rough time right now. Things can be stressful and outright depressing, but I just wanted to give you a gentle reminder to take a breath, talk to somebody you care about, and if you're having trouble finding people who will listen to you, I'm going to go ahead and leave a few links below that'll put you in contact with people you can talk to 24/7. But for now, drink plenty of water, eat your favorite pasta, and never try to hold back a smile. Thank you guys again for stopping by, and we'll see you again next week. So bye, Josh.
Bye.